when most people invest with everyone else, smart money is one step ahead. We've all heard this line, but how can we actually do that? Hey, I'm Pranav, a data analyst here at Proper, and I help the team pick their next areas of interest. Today, I welcome you back to our series where we show you just how we evaluate accounts. Today's area of topic is going to be Newcastle, which to most people might just be a mini metro or a university town. But behind the scenes, it's been getting upgrades to the airport, rail links to Sydney, and even major precinct redevelopments. All of this means Newcastle isn't just growing, it's being built for the future. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the data and see what it tells us about its performance and its potential.
So what do we find? Well, first things first, median house price does sit at $845,000. It's a little high, but there's a good reason for that. See, over the last 10 years, we've seen an annual growth of 10.9% in Newcastle. Excellent results over multiple cycles. In fact, Cropper's personal metric for long-term growth gives Newcastle a perfect 100 out of 100. Exactly what you want to see. That's giving you strong capital growth. Now, what about your cash flow? Well, from the supply side, we see that rental affordability is pushing at around 33% of the median income in Newcastle. So there's definitely a tightening of demand happening. At the same time, rental prices are increasing by 9%. So the tenant market is definitely having some pressure. Now, when you look at demand, you also must look at supply. So rental yield is set at 3.94% and rental turnover has dropped to 1.95. All these numbers tell me that landlords in Newcastle are getting greater returns and tenants that stay for longer. A perfect recipe. To really back this data, we also see that the CIFA index over the last 2 years in Newcastle has been increasing consistently. It now sits at a range that is top 30% nationally. So there's definitely strong upward growth in Newcastle, and it's being backed by strong education levels, increasing income levels, and strong long-term ownership. Exactly metrics you want to see. Now, as usual, we need to dig beneath the surface to really see how this market changes so we can predict where it'll be in the future. One of my favorite metrics to do so is days on market. For Newcastle, it's dropped to just over a month at 33 days. That's telling me stocks being absorbed really quick and buyers are acting fast. Very, very good signs. Another metric you might want to look at would be inventory, which for this market sits at 2.5 months. Especially when you combine that with a solid sales turnover of 3%, you really see signs for a market that's moving efficiently. It's tight, but it's not stagnant, which is exactly where you want to be. Now, to really back this data, Cropper's growth gap score shows us that over the long term, the Newcastle market has performed 0.2% better than its estimates. Again, that's a small number, but what that's telling me is that historically, the data for this area is a strong predictor for its future. So I have very strong faith in what the numbers are telling me about where this market will be in the future. So what happens when we bring all of this data together? Well, Propel gives Newcastle an investor score of 73. Very solid number, and it's reflecting its long-term capital growth, its increasing rental demand, and its supply strain constraints. But for me personally, that's not the most interesting part about Newcastle. See, it's not backing on its past metrics. It's getting 110 million airport expansion, and some of its suburbs have as many as 20,000 plus homes being planned. So if you're trying to read between the lines of flashy suburbs and social media trends, Newcastle is providing you something different. A stable metric with plans for long-term growth. If that's something you value, maybe Newcastle deserves a stronger and smarter look.